What's up? This is Les El Blatino. So, if you've been keeping up, you know that I'm making this like crazy B-movie style flick with the use of green screen, miniatures, stock footage. One of the first scenes that I shot was this going over a cliff scene, and it's like slow motion, and I drive off the cliff, and the car is a convertible, and I'm coming off the car, and there's a river below, and then I hit the river, and that's it. And I'm being chased by a scorpion, by the way. I haven't filmed or included the scorpion in the shots yet because I'm trying to figure out how to do it, and I'm also trying to figure out the best way to do the scorpion for the film. Am I gonna do stop motion, which actually takes a long time, or am I gonna use a remote control scorpion, like a toy remote control scorpion? I don't know, we'll see. Anywho, this was a blast to film. I used a few techniques. I started with the car sideways. I used a stock photo for the shot as the background plate. And from there, I started building up the rest of the sequence. You know, what came after, or what comes before it, and then what comes after. I wanna say two things. One is, you know, some of the shots came about because I needed to hide something, and what I mean by that is like, it would be very hard to pull this sequence off in one take. Even in big budget Hollywood films, I think it would be difficult to pull this. Well, no, because these days, like what they can do with computers and, you know, CGI and VFX, they can do anything. I have limitations. I just can't do anything. It's good to have limitations. It makes you creative. You have to think creatively. Each one of my shots is a combination of thinking creatively and being like, I want to create that shot because it's going to be so cool and memorable and dope. Nothing else. It's okay to create a shot that's just freaking cool. I mean, sometimes you just want to show off and do something that jazzes you up and gets you excited. How cool will it be if you can see the car coming off the cliff from the bottom? But that also is very helpful for me because I'm able to make my cuts in a way so that it can be seamless. The shots can be very short and precise, but a lot can happen in that one shot. And the progression, how it comes together, it just makes it exciting. Some of the shots I'm still kind of trying to figure out, like the very ending shot of this sequence is the camera actually underwater looking up at me and the car as we come towards it. And right now it looks I feel like as I continue to work on this film and develop my techniques for how I'm making this film, I feel like I'm going to figure that shot out and make it look really nice and really, really, really cool. So let's start from the beginning. So the first shot is I'm coming towards the cliff. What I hope the final shot does is like, as I'm coming towards the cliff, the camera is dollying in towards me and the scorpion is in the back, like just coming at you. Well, coming at me. And from there, get a side shot of me looking back at the scorpion and looking at the cliff and being like, oh my God, right? And then this really cool shot, you see it from bird's eye view, right? And you see the top of the car, you see the cliff. It's a beautiful stock footage clip. I hope I can still use it and pull this thing off for the final film because I do want to keep some kind of continuity between the shots and the sequence. I don't want it to just be like, oh, the stock footage from this shot to this shot, they don't make sense. So you see the car from the top, you see me from the top coming off the cliff, and then you see the car from the bottom coming off the cliff. And I experimented with the shot from the bottom by using strings and pulling the car along a few times until I got something that I liked. Eventually, you know, there's gonna be like a lot of dust because clearly we're in the desert, and if a car is going over a cliff, there should be some dust. Probably done digitally in After Effects that I'll put into the sequence, but it's cool. So the car goes over the cliff, you see it from the bottom, and then you see a close-up of me like coming off the car, which is kind of cool. And then you see that kind of similar shot, but from the reverse of me coming off. And I used another background plate that I really like and really works with this particular shot, that really sells it, like I'm going over the cliff. And then this shot right here, which is actually the very first shot I created for the sequence. This is the shot that inspired this whole sequence, where I'm just like coming out of the car. And from there, this really nice shot where I'm flying towards the camera head first. This was pretty fun to film. Then we go to this really nice wide shot. Now the background plate that I have behind this is not the greatest right now. I'm sure I'll find something that'll be better for this, but it works for now. It gives you the idea of what I'm going for. Again, I'm not working on the details of the film at this moment right now. I am working on the bigger picture of this film, finishing the bones, the story, the emotional core of it. I really want those things to work, and then I'll go back in and work on the details. What you see, the way it's cut together and everything, that's how it's gonna end up in the movie. I'm pretty sure it's gonna look a lot better because I'm gonna find better backgrounds and add in more details and just really sell it, right? Oh, really quick, you'll notice that when I filmed this shot, both the car and myself were upright. We were facing up. And then in post, that's when I flipped the image so that it looks like I'm falling down and the car is falling down. So from that wide, it goes to behind me, the POV like behind me, like going into the water. That's a pretty fun shot. I was able to like create like the shadow of the car over me by manipulating this shot right here of the car against the green screen. I was pretty proud of myself like for figuring that out. And then I really love this shot, the one from underwater, looking up and seeing the car and myself approaching. It still needs a lot of work, but again, it's not about the details. It's not about the details yet. Once this whole movie is cut together, I feel like a few things can happen. One, this process is gonna make me a better filmmaker, and not only just a better filmmaker, but specifically a better filmmaker to make this kind of movie. And I'm gonna figure some things out that are gonna be unique to this movie. And so I have no doubt that at the end of the day, once the film is over and I start adding the details and really working on making the shots look butter and nice and crispy, that I'm going to end up with a film I will be proud to show as my work. The other thing, which I'm still very open to, is collaborators, all right? Collaborators. And I am sure there are people out there who will do like a million times better than I am doing on these shots. I don't want y'all to get the idea that I'm just like doing this because I want to be called a film auteur, or like, you know, oh, Les doesn't need anybody because he can do this all by himself. No, I'm doing this because it's fun. I think it's an interesting way to make a movie, and it's always easier to show people. Do you know how hard it is to get people to read a screenplay? It is almost impossible to get people to read a screenplay. It's very hard to get them to watch a video or watch a film. Imagine getting them to read a screenplay. I don't want that to stop me from creating my film. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I hope with this film being completed in a very rough form, that somebody can look at it and be like, this is cool, I see where you're going with this. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video breaking down this going over the cliff sequence in my movie. Thank you very much for checking me out. My name is Les El Blatino, and as always, like, comment, and subscribe.